Greetings, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to the final week and when I am coining Activate April. And with your new winged ego in action, this week what you are doing is sorting through your seeds of manifestation, the magical beans you intend to plant. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your weekly Namaste Today. Welcome to Namaste Today, a spiritual way to start the day. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Sensei Christopher Witecki. Welcome back, dear friend. Namaste. Well, I am happy. Why? Because we are moving into the energy of Taurus. And if you don't know, I am a Taurus, so it happens to be my favorite state of awareness. And if you don't know, Taurus is the state of manifestation. It's no accident that we plant our seeds in Taurus, what we consciously want to grow in the next year, and that's precisely what we're doing this week, in my opinion, sorting through the different magical beans that we intend to plant. So in this week's show, I'm going to talk you through the first week and what is shifting now that we have the winged ego. Mercury is still in its shadow period. And then later in our tea time, we're going to talk about the full moon in Scorpio that comes down on Sunday. But first, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Monday, April 23rd to Friday, April 27th, 2018. Looking at your 5-day moodcast. Looking at the week at a glance, there's a couple of cloudy days in the middle, but most of it is sunny and spring-like. Let's drill down. On Monday, it's sunny and optimistic. Step 3 rules the day, which means it's time to open up to new horizons, and a moon in Leo brings you into your heart. On Tuesday, it's partly cloudy and touchy. Expect minor delays or breakdowns. Step 4 rules the day, and the moon moves into Virgo, making things all too real. On Wednesday, it's partly cloudy but growing. Step 5 rules the day, and a moon in Virgo creates a grand trine in Earth, which allows you to plot what you intend to manifest. On Thursday, it's sunny and super peaceful. Step 6 rules the day, and a moon in Virgo makes sure things are healed. And then on Friday, it's sunny but sacred. Step 7 rules the day, calling into your higher self, and a moon in Libra calls in the inner peace. Well, as I examine the week ahead, it really is about sorting through your magical beans and making determinations about which ones you want to plant. So in our next segment, we'll talk about the conscious trends and the collective conscious. Taking a sneak peek at the upcoming week, this week the collective consciousness is sorting seeds. Now we are into one of my favorite times of the year, Taurus, and I say that because I am a Taurus, but I also say that because my heart really loves to manifest. And if you don't know, Taurus is the state of awareness in us human beings that monitors growth and manifestation. So for instance, if you have a bunch of plants at home that are going to grow into flowers and you are a bit of a farmer or have a green thumb, you're using your Taurus manifestation energy to kind of plot out the growth of that plant. It is the I manifest consciousness that knows it needs sun and water and it needs to be repotted when it outgrows its pot. If you are a parent and you have been raising your children through the years from birth up until whatever age, I argue you're using your manifestation consciousness, which is Taurus. If you are an artist and you paint, or an artist and you sculpt, or an artist and you sing or dance or play a musical instrument, you are manifesting music, and I think this is part of what humans have come to do. Put simply, part of the human experience, actually in my opinion, all of the Earth human experience, is here so that we can manifest into the physical things our heart imagined. To me, the whole game is about enjoying who you are and enjoying what you manifest. And we just spent 30 days working on what I call the winged ego. And I talked about how this is a winged ego that flies above all the conflict, that flies above the groundedness of fear and fight or flight and whatnot. And this new winged ego is win-win and ready to fly. Well, now that we have this ego, It's time to take this ego and decide, what are we going to do with it? Okay, what are we going to make? What do we do with this new winged ego now that we look all shiny and spiffy? And that is really the question for the whole week. This week, in the first week of Taurus consciousness, we're going to move from step 3 Taurus to step 9, first of all. So what that means is we're going to be opening up to what we should plant, opening up to things. Perhaps this year, you're ready to start a new musical project. Perhaps this year, you're ready to start your kids' college fund. Perhaps this year, you're ready to start a whole bunch of projects. In fact, I think most human beings have a long laundry list of things that they intend to manifest, things that they want to see come to fruition. And one of the mistakes that elementary humans tend to make is they try to manifest all of it at once, okay? That is not how you have a fruitful soul garden. You must be selective. And what this week is about is that selection process, how to choose which seeds that we want to plant, and in order to reserve our energy and get the most out of our manifestation potential, which seeds are we going to put off till next season or till we next have availability? You might find that you have availability in the middle of the summer to plant one of these seeds. So this week we're opening up to what it is we want to manifest. Now, in very personal terms, manifestation comes down to what gives us self-confidence. And in my Series Joy Personal Sensei service, for instance, I know, because I have everyone's chart, I know what part of their life brings them confidence. And that is your A story, basically. So if you're a subscriber, your A story is what brings you confidence. Your B story, your rising story, is what you tend to manifest, basically, with this confidence. So in this week, we're not just searching for which seeds we want to plant. We're also searching for what things we want to manifest that we feel confident about, that will build us confidence, that will build us value, that will make life feel valuable, and also what we value the most. That's part of the seed selecting process. What your heart loves the most is part of what you should select as your seed, because love actually is the energy of manifestation. It comes from love. So if you're not in love with it, you're not going to be very fertile. So this week we move from opening up at step 3 to step 9, which is the point when we're ready to plant the seeds. So this week we literally are choosing the seeds, the ones we have the greatest love for, the ones that we feel have other aspects necessary for it to grow right now, such as the funding or the help or whatnot. And on Sunday we have a full moon. And this full moon will be officially you planting the seeds and your heart focusing on the next step, which is to grow samplings, like the first little growth. Now, this week is also an interesting week in another way, because as you're planting seeds and sorting seeds, that's really the best way to say it, sorting seeds, you're also facing fears, okay? This week, Mars, Black Lilith, and Pluto are all in what we call a stellium. And what that means is your ego consciousness, your fears, and your boundary making are all in one conscious stream. Now this is good and this is bad. It's bad in the sense that your ego can very easily trigger your fears. Your ego, Mars, can also very easily trigger you feeling unsafe or unwanted with Pluto consciousness, calling for you to create new boundaries. The good side is your ego and your fears and Pluto, your boundary making. And by the way, boundary making is basically the part of you that breaks the soil, that digs the hole to plant the seed, okay? The good news is these three are working together, which means you can get the job done. So there's this kind of subplot going on this week where as you are sorting through what seeds that you want to plant, you're also facing fears about whether or not you are a fertile farmer or not, facing fears about, let's say, your commitment to bring your crop to term, facing fears about, will the world try to bring me down like they have the last time? Now, if you say to yourself, will the world bring me down, guess what? You just left the winged ego and went back to the old ego. And that brings me a part of another storyline going this week, which is that Uranus hits step 29 Aries. So as we're moving forward to kind of take control of our life and decide where to plant our seeds, we are being tested on this winged ego. Tested means you could end up grounding it, crashing it, steering off course at any moment. Just because we moved out of Aries doesn't mean the lesson is over. In fact, it is up for you to carry this on for the entire year until the sun reaches Aries next year. So you'll find that you are tested on the winged ego. You'll find that your old ego wants to come rumbling back. You'll find that your old ego tries to have an opinion about what's fertile and what's not fertile. You'll probably find that your old ego will even throw in its opinion about which seeds to plant. So it might be like, oh, let's plant this seed. It's like, well, that's the one that makes you look strong and show off. But is that the one that our heart really wants? Now, I want to tell you, this is the last test of the winged ego, and it goes on until May 16th, at which point Uranus moves into Taurus, which is going to be awesome because basically Uranus moving into Taurus pretty much says that whatever seeds you plant, they're going to be grown by the universe. It's kind of like, I guess you could look at Uranus as miracle grow. Okay, like it kind of is miracle grow. It doesn't feel like a miracle, you know what I mean? Like, but wherever Uranus is, it's going to grow, 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 just as our egos have grown since 2012 when Uranus went in Aries. So back to this week. You will be tested on your winged ego this week. You will be tested on your winged ego all the way through May 16th. So keep that in your mind. And make sure that your old ego, the old fight, the old story, doesn't pollute and corrupt your seeds. Now, we technically plant the seeds next week, so don't worry. Your job this week is to select the seeds. The other aspect, too, that's worth noting is that Mercury is direct. Thank God. That was a tough Mercury retrograde. Oh my God. I think because it was connected to Aries, which is our ego. So boy, did I have a lot of insane fights with myself that whole time. But this week, Mercury is still in the shadow period. And what that means is our mind and our intellect is not full up to speed. We are still recovering from the retrograde. And our mind is still being reprogrammed according to the needs and willpower of the winged ego. So keep in mind that you have to keep in mind more your ego and your behavior than so much what seeds you're going to plant. Yes, the topic is what do we want to plant, but we're still getting good at being a winged planter, a winged farmer, basically a person who is flying above all the old trauma, and it might be your mind that holds you back. Mercury will stay in shadow until it reaches step 16, which is next week. So that's another reason why we don't want to plant right now, if we can, because Mercury's in its shadow. So all in all, this week is about sorting your seeds, choosing what seeds are good and what are bad seeds, and the universe is going to work with you to help you triangulate what it is you want to plant and what your heart is attached to. And then on Sunday, we have the first full moon of spring, the full moon in Scorpio. I mean, you could say the full moon in Libra, but really, to me, this is the one that feels like spring. And this full moon in Scorpio is going to be a moment where you cast away the old seeds and you commit to the new ones. So, go steep yourself some tea. Let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is the Scorpio full moon. Now, I think the Scorpio full moon is a powerful one. Why? Well, Scorpio is step 0. And if you don't know, step 0 is holding space. So in our little soul guard metaphor, we're about to plant something that we intend to manifest. Step 0, the space involved, is technically the dirt that you plant the seed in. We have to plant our magical seeds into a certain space. Now, when it comes to space meaning boundaries, protection, etc., we've been working on space since Jupiter moved into Scorpio last October 2017. Since then, we have been rediscovering what our space needs to be. Like, for instance, you need more space between you and your wife, okay? Or you need less space between you and your children, or you need more space for yourself, or you need a space away from everybody. And with Jupiter direct for 6 months, we were basically Jupiter kept saying, did you know you might need space here? You might need space here. Did you know this person is coming upon your space? Did you know this space is polluted and this space is dark? And so with Jupiter direct the entire time, we were working on what our space ought to be. Then Jupiter retrograded, which I think happened in March, if I'm not mistaken. I should keep an ephemeris handy when I shoot. But once Jupiter has retrograded, we've been reevaluating what our space needs to be and figuring out, like, now that we've spent 6 months thinking about where space ought to be, where should the perfect space be? What should the perfect space be? So technically, right now the Earth is in Scorpio. As the Sun is in Taurus, the Earth is in Scorpio. And so the Earth is what we manifest. Technically, now that we're 6 months away from Scorpio, we are now technically this month ready to manifest the space. Okay? Now, we're going to have changes to the space, modifications to the space. We don't know everything about the space, but with the Earth in Scorpio, you're now ready to manifest your boundaries. You're ready to manifest the space. And that's part of the discussion leading up to this weekend's full moon. It's not just what seeds you want to plant, it's what space are you going to plant them in. And as of Sunday, when we have the full moon, this is the moment where you will say to the universe, consciously and unconsciously, you will say, these are the seeds I wish to plant. This is where I will plant them. Now, you should know that technically the space you plant intentions is yourself. So if you're in a dark space, seeds aren't going to grow very well. If you're in a sad space, seeds won't grow very well. Okay, in fact, the space basically needs to be loving, non-judgmental, and full of emotional support. Those are the three things. Basically, sunlight, nobody stomping on the samplings, and plenty of water, emotional support. That's basically what it takes to grow something in the world. So this week you're sorting seeds, and by Sunday you're ready to say, okay, this is the space and this is the seeds. Now, in the actual full moon, it's a pretty powerful full moon. It's at step 9, which means this full moon is going to be a charge to take action. So I think on Sunday night you're going to be ready to plant your seeds. You'll probably decide what your seeds are Saturday, but you won't be certain or ready to plant until Sunday, just so you know. So give yourself the step 0 space and time so you don't plant your seeds in doubt or self-sacrifice or any of these other things. The Jupiter will be at step 19 retrograde Scorpio. Step 19 is Taurus. It is I manifest. So the weird thing about this full moon is in this moment, you're not just telling what space that you want to have to plant the seeds into. You're also holding space for the next space. So if that makes sense. So in our soul garden analogy, it's like you know the plant you're going to pot it in, and you know the plant you're going to transplant it in after it outgrows this. So we're not just holding space for the seed, we're holding space for the sampling, for the first sprout of that manifestation. Now Saturn will be at step 9 Capricorn. And Saturn will be retrograde. Saturn's retrograde this whole week. So Saturn is done now teaching you about control issues and not control issues. And so be advised that the way you take control to plant the seed, the way you go about planting the seed, has consequences. With Saturn retrograde, if you don't adhere to what you have learned in the last 6 months since Saturn went into Capricorn, which is December 20th, you're going to find that also could corrupt and pollute your seeds. So, for instance, maybe in the old days, you were in control of your life through emotional manipulation. You manipulated people, you threw tantrums or whatever, and that's what got people to help you work. And you've learned over the 6 months that that doesn't necessarily work. So when you go to plant these seeds on Sunday, if you use manipulation in planting the seeds, they won't grow. Saturn retrograde in Capricorn at 9 says it will pollute your seeds if you use the old control consciousness. Now, it may grow, but it'll probably grow into some weird, distorted, like, atomic vegetable. You know what I mean? Like, it'll grow into some ugly mass. It will not be what you want because it is being planted in with these old control mechanisms. And the thing is with Saturn in Capricorn, human consciousness has got to a point where the old control mechanisms will no longer work. Okay, so you're just going to find that you go in circles. So there's a test there. Saturn is also conjoining Black Lilith at step 19, which means on Sunday, not only are you moving forward with the new way of control, but you are facing fears and not allowing any fear to get into the germination of your conscious intention. Plus, it's conjoining Pluto. We have a major stellium in Capricorn. It's conjoining Pluto at step 21, which means not only are you using the right control methods and not adding any fear, you're also on top of that holding the appropriate boundaries for how this plant is going to grow. So you have to not just think about the space that your seeds are planted in. You have to think about the space where it's going to transplant in, and you have to think about how this plant is going to grow. So if it's a tomato vine, for instance, it needs a lattice to climb, and it needs to be on a sunny side of the house, but it also needs to have shade part of the day and that sort of thing. So whatever this investment is, this is really a moment where I think it's designed for people who are on a self-master path, because most of the planets are calling that you master these old dog sort of games and that you are not operating with the old ego whatsoever. And then finally, Mars is at step 28 of this 4-planet stellium, which means that your ego is going to be committed to a feeling. And that's super, super important for you to know if you want to bring fruition to this soul garden manifestation of yours. Again, you can't plant it in negative feelings. You can't plant it in shadow or darkness. You must plant it in sun and love. So on Sunday, you're also committing to the sunlight you intend to give and the water you intend to irrigate this creation with. And then, of course, with all of this, Uranus will be at step 29, which means with these seeds you plant, you are being tested on whether or not you can stay in the winged ego and not default to the old ego. Now, I know that was complicated, okay, like that's a lot. But to me, before I dive into all 12 signs, what it tells me is this Scorpio moon is kind of a separator. It's kind of a dividing line. This is going to determine who's ready for prime time, who makes it up to the next level, who gets promoted to the next level, because they are exercising basically the laws of the universe in their intention. They're no longer having their ego push past the laws, fight the laws, be in that old struggle. They are in fact working with the laws of the universe. And so what you're going to find is this kind of separates the boys from the men or the girls from the women, because anyone who defaults to the old ego is going to plant they're going to plant a soul garden that's going to end up not yielding fruit, or it's going to end up wilting on the vine, or it's going to end up being choked by weeds, right? Like, so this is going to be interesting. And I will say this, we don't know if this stuff's going to grow until August. So the seeds you are planting today have another test in August with the solar eclipse in Leo. Whether or not it comes to term is a whole nother story that we'll be talking about through the summer. So, for each of the 12 signs, I'm going to tell you where you are planting seeds, and what consciousness that you are trying to grow. And I'm going to tell you where you have to move forward with the right space, holding the right space, where you need to be conscientious of the space. And it's not just the space, just to remind you, it's the space, it's the control, it's facing the fears, it's how it will grow later, it's the sunlight, the emotional intention, it's all of it. You have to be aware of all of it. And as always, I will put on the screen right here what sign I am working with. First sign, Aries. Aries are planting seeds of self-confidence. They are always the purebreds, they're always doing what it is. So whatever seeds they're planting, these are seeds that bring them confidence. In other words, this could be jobs, relationships, children, projects, anything. The point is, what you're putting your energy into, Aries, are things that make you feel valuable, that you're planting seeds in value consciousness. This isn't a time, I think, to pay off your debt. No, this is all about what you're worth, not what you owe. Okay? So it's time to be conscious of what will bring value to your heart, what will bring value to your life. Now, you must be very careful to make sure that you have created a self-trust space to plant these seeds in. If you don't trust yourself in the area that you're about to plant the seeds, don't do it. If you can make changes to trust yourself by adjusting this and adjusting that, go ahead. And if you trust yourself, go ahead and plant the seeds. But if you plant the seeds in something you don't trust, in someone you don't trust, or betting on a side of yourself that you don't trust, like, oh, I'm a recovered alcoholic, but I'm going to open up a business in a bar. Huh? You know what I mean? Like, that's not a place where there's trust. That's not where you should plant your seeds, right? Like, you're not necessarily safe in that environment. So the point is, you have to be very sure that whatever you're investing in is well protected. It has your trust and has your ongoing commitment to protect it. All right? So Arises are creating self-confidence. It can be anything under the map. I will say, if it's a new business or a revenue stream, that's particularly supported at this time. Taurus. Tauruses, happy birthday to myself. I'm so happy it's Taurus. This is my favorite time of the year, I just got to say. Taurus, happy birthday. You are planting seeds, basically, of new defenses, okay? I know you just spent a month working on your inner faith and having solid inner faith. Now it's time to actually carry that faith out with action and defense. So you're planting seeds to a new personality, basically, an upgrade. And it's going to be not just an upgrade, but it's going to be a platform that continually upgrades for until 2026, because Uranus is going to go into Taurus. So you could say you're planting seeds of a new beta operating system, how you operate, okay? Now for this to pull off, you must create safe space in your marriage. You must be true to all your marriage vows. You must be true to all the promises you made to yourself. If you let yourself down now, Taurus, you will let the project down, okay? There's been times in the past where you could get away with it. Not anymore, says Scorpio, Jupiter. Not anymore. You must be true to yourself. And by the way, you must be true to yourself all the way until November for 6 months, just so you know. Geminis. Geminis are planting new seeds of fearlessness. So Geminis have been plagued with fear, which is like spiritual bacteria. They've been infested, okay? And they have allowed their mind to go too far and get carried too far away. And as a result, they've created this infertile space to manifest, this infertile subconscious space. So Geminis are planting the seeds of fearlessness. They're planting the seeds of faith. They're planting the seeds of a spiritual connection or a spiritual voice in their life, not just the mind. All right? Now, to pull this off, they must create a safe space in their daily life. So for you to have faith, your daily life must be routine. Your daily life must be thought out. Your daily life must keep the bad weeds out of your soul garden. Your daily life must have sunlight, must have water. So you must create a safe, protected space in your day-to-day life if you intend for these seeds of faith to grow. Cancer. Cancers are planting new social belonging. So Cancers they've been probably working on some sort of soul garden in some sort of neighborhood for years, and they're literally going to plant their seeds in a new garden. They're literally going to put their seeds into a new investment. So we're going to see Cancers. You're going to see a lot of changes between now and Cancer's birthdays. For one, Cancers support so many people on Earth, and people take them for granted. So a lot of Cancers are going to book and retire from certain situations, and they're going to be then planting their seeds in other places. So if you're codependent to a Cancer, I gave you a warning, okay? Now, for this to happen, you must have a safe space of self-love in your heart. You must have a total protected space of loving yourself, Cancer, loving yourself to the day you die, period. And you cannot let that self-love space go. If you don't have sacred self-love space, your new soul flowers won't grow in the new garden. Leos. Leos are planting new seeds of future. So Leos thought they had a certain future. They were wrong, just as we all are. Welcome to the club, Leo. And so you're planting new seeds of future. Future may be career, legacy, something you intend to do, something you intend to accomplish, traveling around the world, whatever it is. So Leos are planting new seeds, literally of what they want their future to be like. But you must hold sacred space with your emotional, home, and family and nurturing situation. Basically, the more powerful your beings, the bigger the emotional flower pot you're going to need, Leo. So Leos have to have a trusting emotional space. They must feel safe at home. They must feel safe in their own skin. They must feel well emotionally nurtured. So Leos hold the potential of their soul gardens, whatever they manifest, drying out from a lack of water. And that would be from a lack of emotional nurturing and emotional maintenance. Emotional maintenance is massage. It's going to the masseuse. It's going to the gym. It's letting it cry out, all those things. So Leos are going to have a bright future but it is dependent on how strong that flower pot is that determines whether or not it will yield come their birthday. Virgos. Virgos are planting new seeds of self-trust. Okay, so they are ready, new seeds of belief in themselves, forgive me. So they're here to believe in themselves. And Virgos have been nothing but doubters, right? So this is huge. These are magic beans for Virgos because most of their beans, they never thought they could sprout. So you're planting seeds of believing in yourself forever and ever and ever. This isn't just a one-time seasonal planting, by the way. These seeds in self must be protected with a safe space in your mind. So your mind must create a safe space for this belief in yourself to grow into a solid plant. Safe space means you don't criticize, you aren't critical, you aren't judgmental, you aren't anal retentive. If the seed doesn't grow fast, so what? You let it be. Okay, so you must have and harbor safe space in the mind to grow belief in yourself. Libras. Libras are planting new seeds of self-trust. They're the ones who are learning to trust themselves. So this is them giving themselves a second chance to trust themselves, or a third chance, or a fourth chance. It doesn't really matter where you are. But you're planting new seeds of trust. That also means you're planting seeds of transformation. So you're probably starting phase 1 of a huge change you intend to make in yourself and on earth. These are just the seeds. Now Libra, for this to go to fruition, you must hold a safe space of self-confidence. Self-confidence is you don't weigh back and forth as to whether or not you think it's going to actually work. You don't analyze and check your bank account 20 times a day. You don't worry about not having money in 3 months. Okay? All that is poverty consciousness. So if you are not creating safe, abundant consciousness and holding space with safe consciousness, your trust will not grow. You must hold that flower pot. Scorpios. Scorpios are planting new marriage vows. So they are making new vows to themselves. That's what they're planting. And this is a huge deal for them. It's the first time that they've really addressed their marriage since Jupiter went into Scorpio. You've had a half a year now, Scorpio, of good luck. In other words, the universe keeps watering your garden, whether it's right for you or not. And now it's really time to get serious and ask yourself, what are your promises to yourself? And be clear on your promises to yourself before others. Okay, so if you're jumping ahead to the wife or you're jumping ahead to the boss, you're skipping the seed process. You're wanting fruit out of nothing. Okay, so you're planting new marriage vows. This means that you must hold a safe space of behavior. So you must have in your behavior a safe space. In other words, your behavior must carry through the vows. Your behavior cannot go back to the old behavior. Your behavior cannot repeat the past. So for you to live up to your vows to yourself, you must protect your behavior. Sagittariuses. Sagittarius are planting a new life. They have a whole new life they're planting. So if you're near a Sag, give them a hug or a kiss because they might be on a treasure ship and off to a new adventure any second now. All right, so they're planting for a whole new life. Whole new life calculates to how they work, where they live, how they get to work, who their friends are, the whole 9 yards. Now, Sag, for you to have this new life, you must protect with all your might your faith. You must hold space and have faith. Holding space and having faith means you don't let someone talk you out of it. You don't let yourself talk yourself out of it. You don't let one bad day ruin the whole plan. Okay? You must hold faith, and you will be tested on this faith until your birthday, so hold that space. Capricorns. Capricorns probably have one of the most fun planting seasons. They're planting something their heart truly loves. So Capricorns are planting their prize roses, or a new child, or a creative project, or a book, or a trip around the world, or whatever. It's whatever their heart wants. So they're planting seeds of what their heart wants. Now, for you to get that, Capricorn, you must put a fence around your neighborhood in the world. What does that mean? That means you don't become the boss of everybody. You don't become into a power you don't really love. You don't let your world influence get so big that you can't get to your prize roses. All right? And that's what's happened in the past. Capricorns have wanted everything. But as a result, you have not gotten much harvest because you spread yourself too thin. So you must protect what your soul garden is and only your soul garden and stay in your soul garden. That also means don't let the neighbors trample on your flowers. Don't let any of your business associates. So you have to protect literally your space in the world that this will manifest in. All right. Aquarius. Aquariuses are planting new emotional seeds. And it's like, oh, emotional seeds, that's not much fun. I don't know, Aquarius. You're one of the most flighty, up in the air, not grounded people I've ever met in my life. Okay? Like, the only thing we can count on is that we can't count on it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, for you to plant seeds and plant your roots somewhere, huge. This means Aquarius can actually manifest something that they want because they're grounding themselves. So this means you're planting seeds of a new home, a new family, a new way of nurturing yourself, a new nurturing routine. Basically, you're planting seeds of emotional care. Okay? Now, for you to plant those seeds, you must hold space about your career and future. You can't put the pressure of outcome on your emotional foundation. You can't build a new emotional home and be worried about what work expects of you. You've got to keep work out of the way of your emotional needs. Okay, so that means that you put it off if you have to put it off. You say no if you have to say no. You turn down opportunity if you have to turn down opportunity. If it's going to get in the way of your emotional sanity, you must say no. And that's how you must protect your soul garden. And then finally, the Pisces. Pisces are planting new seeds of thought. So Pisces are having new ideas, new thoughts. And you may go, so what? Oh no, Pisces will see this all the way through to the end. So this might be new theories about the universe, like Albert Einstein, who's a Pisces. This might be new thoughts about your life, new thoughts about your wife, new thoughts about anything. But the point is, it's new thinking. And to me, the thinking is of the new Pisces, not the karmic Pisces. So I think this is a new mindset that does not include all the stuff you've been through and should not include all the stuff you've been through. In fact, the space you have to hold is belief in yourself. For these new thoughts to work out, you must believe in yourself and no longer question your belief in yourself. You can no longer ridicule yourself from the past. You can no longer feel guilty. You can no longer feel bad. You can no longer feel responsible. All that gets in the way of you believing in yourself. So you must, if you believe in yourself, put a fence around that and hold that belief. And it will be important for you to stay stuck with that belief until these new ideas turn into something concrete. All right, my friends. Scorpio full moon. I'm excited. It's probably going to be a beautiful full moon. And as of Sunday night, that's when you will have the turning point. You will be ready to make the turn. So don't expect yourself to come up with these answers until you go to bed Sunday night. As of Sunday night, that's the point when you should know. And on Monday, we actually break ground. And I'll be talking about that in next week's show. I have a couple of announcements, as always. One announcement which I'm really happy to announce is I'm working with Julie Day. You may know that because I do videos with her about once a month. Julie Day is a practical mystic I have been working with for about 10 years. Like, I know this woman. She knows her shift. And she has launched what we call Practical Mystics TV, which basically is a team of enlightened teachers coming together on certain topics. And she has her first kind of like package coming out. And I totally endorse and support Julie. I'm not in this package. I might be in another one. I'm teaching with her. I'm on this team. But her first package has to do with abundance. She's giving a package of videos. She's selling a package of videos that all kind of go around abundance. And they all involve star members of her faculty team. She's going to be talking, this package will involve abundance rituals, so an actual ritual to bring in money, how you envision and prayer for abundance, how you rewrite your unworthiness, and that's a lot of things that people have problems with. They come to the table feeling worthless, and so their soul garden doesn't grow. Another lecture on how your desires can be fulfilled and how they're meant to be fulfilled, how the nature of the universe is the fulfillment. And then lastly, a repattering righteous poverty, which is basically getting your mind around your prosperity and getting your mind out of your poverty. So what is this? This is what Julie calls an album of videos. They're kind of meant to be a super PAC to tackle a certain issue. If you find that you have any weaknesses in any of these areas, you might considering purchasing this pack. That's what this is leading up to. So Julie's got a whole page set up. Tell me what you think. I'm very curious. I myself may be purchasing as well just to see what it is. You can visit soulmart.net. Soulmart.net will bounce you directly to the Practical Mystics TV page. Soulmart.net. And if those of you who do purchase it, let me know how it was for you, because us light workers are all starting to get together now with full-on solutions. For those who are subscribers to Serious Joy, I want to tell my subscribers that I am, this month in May, the tea times are going to be focused on the 11 steps to Serious Joy and manifestation. So I'm creating a series that comes with our service, and we will be walking through the manifestation of what we call the golden egg. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know what the golden egg is, but I do want to say we're going to walk through step by step. I'm creating videos step by step. So if you're ready to manifest, it's good you're a subscriber, because we're going to see something to fruition. And just so you know, yes, I'm going past step 11. Yes, we're going to hear step 12. So for more information about my service, visit seriousjoy.com. And then lastly, you don't have to be alone. You don't have to farm alone. You know, there's a lot of a-holes on Facebook, but there's also a lot of angels. And those angels hang out in our Facebook club. It's called the Namaste Today Club. Come on down and join. You'll find it's full of positive posts. You're totally welcome to post your business or anything else you're working on. We're all a little soul family there. Our only lesson, our only rule is compassion. You must be compassionate to yourself and others if you're part of the club. If you'd like to be part of the club, come on down to namastetoday.club. All right, friend, I don't know about you, but I am so happy Mayflowers are here. In 1 week, we will start to feel spring. It has been a long and difficult winter, has it not? But I'm with you, and you're with me, and I'm grateful for that. I'll see you in 1 week with more. Remember, I love you. To live, love, be.
It's serious joy, joy, joy.